Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, in this video, I'm going to be covering the final Infinite Suspend build, this time on Titan. A few weeks ago, I did it on Hunter, and at the start of the season, I did it on Warlock. But this time, we're going to be doing it on Titan, and it is very, very powerful. I do have two versions to show you. There isn't that many differences between them both. It's mostly just stats and a fragment. But, yeah, it's really awesome. So, getting into this, the first thing you will need is Abeyant Leap. Now, the great thing about this exotic is anyone can get it for free. All you have to do is beat the legendary campaign on your Titan, and then you get the choice of this and the Stasis exotic. Obviously, this is the no-brainer choice. This thing is completely busted. Main reason is Suspend is busted in PvE, and this just makes Suspend that much better. So, basically what it does is it will buff the aspect Drengr's Lash. And what Drengr's Lash does is that when you put down a barricade, it's going to put down a wave of Suspend. And anything that gets tagged by it will be suspended, and, you know, this is already really good by itself, but the thing about Abeyant Leaps is it will turn the, one projectile into 3 projectiles, so it adds 2 extra ones. They have better tracking, and they travel further, so you can suspend more with those, projectiles. On top of this, you also gain Woven Mail when you suspend targets. That is just phenomenal, because Woven Mail is a big DR increase. Everyone knows how strong it is. You're borderline unkillable in Endgame. And being able to have practically 100% uptime on it is nuts. So that's the Abeyant Leaps. Very powerful. And they're just going to make this build so much better. So for Fragments, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to ignore this first one for now. But here we have Thread of Generation, which is going to regenerate grenade energy when we deal damage. This is just insane. Obviously very, very powerful. You don't even need to do that much damage. It's just per tick. It's not actually based on how much damage you do. Which is why I have Osteo in here as well, because you can do additional ticks of damage. You have the initial shot, and then you have the poison ticks on everything. So you can get your grenades back extremely quickly. Of course, we are going to be using Shackle nades for Suspend, which is the whole idea of the build. So this with Shackle nade is just insane. Obviously, you don't have to use Osteo if you don't want to, but I do highly recommend it, because it is just a phenomenal endgame weapon anyway. It does lots of damage. It can clear rooms very easily because of the poison, and it's going to net you a lot of grenades very quickly, which you can, suspend with. And obviously, Suspending is going to turn off enemies' ability to shoot you for 15 seconds, and you're also going to get Woven Mail out of that. So it's just very strong. Next we have Thread of Continuity, which is going to increase the duration of Suspend, which is why it goes up to 15 seconds. And you can basically turn off all champions with that, all basic enemies with that, minors and majors, champions, some mini-bosses. It's a bit weird. I don't really know what they class as a mini-boss sometimes, because, normally you would think big yellow bar can't be picked up, but some of them can, so I don't really understand that. But anyway, this is going to increase the duration. Very good stuff. And then finally we have Thread of Mind, which is going to give us class ability energy when you defeat suspended targets. I don't know the specifics, I don't know how much percent, but normally you get a class ability back from 0 to 100 in about 3 kills, normally. So that's really strong. So basically you could suspend something, fire Osteo into the crowd of suspended enemies, and with that you would get your grenade back, and you would get your class ability back for free. Which is how the build works. It's an endless loop of throwing your grenade and using your class ability, and they never really run out, because everything dies, everything's suspended, nothing can shoot you, you have Woven Mail permanently anyway. It's really good. Now, the alternate version of this basically replaces this first fragment with Thread of Warding, which is going to give you Woven Mail when you pick up an orb. At first, obviously that sounds really good. It is very good on the other classes, but considering you get Woven Mail every time you suspend anyway, it isn't really necessary. It's kind of just a waste of a slot. So obviously with the other setup, I do maintain triples by just replacing that and using this. But this isn't a very good fragment anyway. I recommend having the... you could use this. Super Final Blows emit a suspending burst from a target. That's really nice. Makes your super not only suspend on impact of the right click, but it'll also suspend when you actually kill things as well, which is nice. Thread of Isolation is also good. Landing rapid precision hits emits a severing burst, makes enemies do less damage to you, which is great paired with Woven Mail. But honestly, anything goes. Use whatever you like here, doesn't matter. If I didn't mention the aspect or the fragment that you want to use, doesn't matter, just use what you like. If you want to maintain triples with this, you can. If you want to use, Thread of Warding, go ahead, doesn't matter. I did make the alt build to do that, I still have 70 here, and I can clean it up with Font of Vigor, which is plus 30. So technically I have triples if I pick up an orb, which is the idea with this one here. So, it's up to you. But, yeah. Now for the mods, of course, there isn't very, there's not a lot of options. The mod system is pretty bad right now, so use what you like. I do like using things, like gaining more heavy and giving heavy to teammates, making orbs for super energy, the basic stuff. Making orbs on melee kills, because you're going to be doing a lot of meleeing, especially while everything's suspended. The melee is very good on Titan, so, yep. Bolstering destinations, that when I use my grenade I get class ability energy, and then Bomber to synergize those, because we're going to be doing a lot of that. Reaper for more orbs, reserves to buff reserves. Surges as well to buff Osteo damage, which is very good in Endgame, very good in Grandmasters. Just doing more damage is just good. And then obviously time dilation to extend that. And then recuperation for health. That's basically it. There isn't really much to put in here. You can use whatever you like, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is the actual setup on the subclass, and being able to endlessly sustain those abilities, which you will be able to do with this. As for your other weapons, doesn't really matter. Use whatever you like. I just like using Forbearance with Osteo. Obviously for an actual Grandmaster, I would be using something that would stun another target. It's nice to use Glaives for the DR, and also to insta-stun Unstoppables once the Suspend runs out, or, once they become unstunned while suspended. So you don't have to resuspend them. You may as well just hit them with a Glaive and then suspend them once they actually drop. But otherwise, it doesn't really matter. Use whatever you like again. Obviously, these mods are going to change next season, so I'm not even going to bother covering this, since it's only a few days away. So, yeah, that's it for this build. I'll just have a little bit of gameplay, maybe running for a Lost Sector, just showing you how easy this build is, how powerful it is, and how easy it is to clear something like a Legend Lost Sector, which a lot of people admittedly struggle with. So, yeah, let me know what you think of the build, and how it can be improved. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.